Good morning, friends. I am Somasundaram, Deputy Manager, State Bank of India, retired. We have formed a WhatsApp group, Bank Pensioners Action Forum, for the purpose of demanding updation of pensions for bank employees. So in banks, pension is given on our last drawn basic pay, and we are having wage negotiations with the banks or organization, United Forum of Bank Unions, which have 5 workmen unions and 4 officers union. It represents the employees' demand. They have unitedly submitted charter of demands to Indian Banks Association, which has mandate from all banks. So IBA, on behalf of all nationalized banks, they negotiate with the unions, and finally they used to arrive a settlement which will govern a period of 4 years or 5 years. Earlier it was 4 years, now it is 5 years. Once in 5 years, they will have a new settlement, and their basic will be revised, merging a portion of DA with the basic. And the pension is fixed on basic. When in the next settlement, basic is revised, DA is merged with the basic, and basic revised, and it has some load of increase. And the person retired earlier, and whose pension is based on the basic, will get low than the person who retired afterwards. So in every settlement it goes on. And a person who retired 10 to 15 years or 20 years back, he is getting very low pension than a person who is in low cadre, or who is in less service, or who is getting more than the senior officers of yesteryears. That is the anomaly. How it should be? That means there should not be any disparity among the pension. An officer or a clerk who has put 30 years of service, and who are in the same grade, and who are having the same qualifications, and one person retired 10 or 15 years back, and another person retired now, there should not be any difference in their basic. How it can be? Whenever pension is revised, whenever wage revision is settled and basic revised, the pension should also be revised. So that is norms. In State Bank of India, in its Rules 50, it endorses that updation of pension. And nationalized banks, their pension is in line with the Reserve Bank of India. They got pension in the year 1993. That too, they had surrendered their PF, employees PF fund, employees PF contribution for each and every one of them. In lieu of the employees PF, they got pension. So the corpus fund of the employees PF, it is converted as a pension fund, naturally. And they have also not given updation of pension. So in banks, no updation of pension, and that is not effective in banks. On every wage settlement, we used to demand updation of pension, and at the beginning it will be also be included in the charter demands submitted by the United Forum of Bank Unions, by all unions. But it won't be discussed, and no revision will be given, no rise will be given, and we will feel cheated. It goes on every settlement, invariably. And this time also it happened. In the charter demand submitted by these unions, it contains 4 or 5 pensioners' demands, mainly updation of pension. And they discussed for 3 years. The past settlement period was over on 30th October 2017. By that date, the previous settlement was over and a new settlement has to be effected. But it goes on discussion for the past 3 years. That means they are saying that nearly 44 sittings they take to discuss the matters. And yet they have not arrived a final settlement. It is an act of delaying tactics by the management for its benefits, for the benefits of the banks and for the benefit of the government at the cost of its poor employees. How pathetic it is, how cheap it is. If bank expects honesty, sincerity from its customers, bank should follow it. It is not an expectation towards the customers. They must first practice and then they preach. That is what we expect and everyone expects. So, the pensioners' demand is left out, and it is still we are having very little hope. Still, some of the officers' forums, some of the unions in the officer forum, they have promised that they won't compromise and they will stand to the end, insisting updation of pension. It may or may not happen. That is a present situation. In the meantime, we have made so many representations to the government, to the finance minister, and to all bank chairmen. And you may have heard and seen so many newses, and heard so many newses and seen so many articles in newspapers, and through the media, WhatsApp, Facebook, emails, and all these channels, you may hear the demand of bank pensioners for updation of pension. So this is also one of the efforts we take. The cases in court, it goes on for years together. Nearly in State Bank of India, they have filed a case long before that, and it has not been given any justice, and no judgment has come. There are some cases which endorses updation of pension and which supports updation of pension, but nothing has yielded a positive result for bank employees' bank pensions. So, when a rule is there, when court verdicts are in favor of it, it's not a duty for the bank and the government to follow it. Why should it neglect? Why should it? It is not. Why it is not ready to pass on the benefits to the employees? That is the question. So the cases are going on, and it seems that it will never end. That is the situation. That what we feel. It goes on adjourned. It goes on being adjourned. And in the meantime, we have lost many of our friends because all are above the age of 60, and they are having only a few more years to live. At least in the remaining period of their life, they may be allowed to live a decent life, to meet all medical expenses and everything, and at least not to depend on their wards, and on their own they can take their decision and lead a good life. Because bank service condition was there. Bank service condition, there is rules in bank, in State Bank there are rules for to give updation, and also so many court verdicts and so many examples are there. In central government they are giving, in state government they are giving updation. Then they are refusing updation to bank employees. So which is not fair, and which is against justice. And we pray that this time, with your support, we pray all of you to lend your support for our demand, updation of pension, and to create a public opinion. We wish to pressure the negotiating team to arrive at a solution for our problems, and to introduce updation of pension at least in this 11th bipartite settlement, so that the bank pensioners can attain their legitimate rights, the rights of updation, and there is no disparity among pensioners, and we want they have to render justice to us with all your support. Please, sir, please support us to get our updation of pension, our which is justifiable. Thank you, and thank you all.